To battleground Alberta, where it's going to be a fun spring, summer, and a little bit of fall. We have some new numbers tonight on the financial health of the provincial parties. And really, you need to know the big news here. Both the governing Progressive Conservatives and the opposition Wild Rose, well, they earned about the same last year, had about the same amount of income. But while the Wild Rose Party has plenty of cash in the bank, the PC Party is under a mountain of debt. They owe people money. The chair of the Department of Policy Studies at Mount Royal University is Professor Dwayne Bratt, and he's in our Calgary studios right now. And Dwayne, as you looked at the numbers this morning as they reported in the papers, give me your sense of what struck you as we know that one of the reasons Redford out is because fundraising has dried up. Does this sort of put some data to that theory?
It's not really the fundraising that dried up. If you look at the numbers, the PCs came very close to what Wild Rose raised. It's really on the expenditure side. And unfortunately, in the documents, we have a great breakdown of all the donors over $250, but we don't have a great breakdown on the types of expenditures that they did. Probably the biggest line item is salaries and benefits at over $1 million, which sounds like a pretty large party staff. So what this does, though, is it fits the Wild Rose narrative that the government of Alberta, like the PC Party, doesn't have a revenue problem, it has a spending problem.
And of course, that leads right, that was a perfect segue, Dwayne, because I want to play Rob Anderson. He's the Wild Rose critic, and he has some thoughts about how the way the PC Party governs its own finances transfers to the way the government actually manages its finances. Listen to Rob Anderson.
The PC Party manages their finances the same way it manages the province's finances. Debt, deficits, and huge overspending with little to show for it. They're going to have to sort that out. I do not feel very good for the new PC leader having to straighten out that mess and fundraise them back into surplus. That's for sure.
And that's a nice segue. Rob Anderson could lead us back to our discussion about the new leader, the leadership race. It's sort of going to start to get going. What do leaders have to say to party members about the state of their finances and how they should or should not be reined in? Presumably some answers about the spending.
Well, one of the things I did when I got a hold of these documents is I went through all the potential leadership names that have been thrown out, both within the party and outsiders. And none of them gave money to the party. Premier Redford didn't give money to the party. Interim Premier Dave Hancock didn't give money to the party. Doug Horner, a prominent cabinet minister, Thomas Lukaszuk, Ken Hughes, Rick McIver. These are all prominent cabinet ministers who are thinking of running for the leadership. None of them have donated to the party. And that sends a really bad message to the grassroots of where you're trying to raise money if the people at the top aren't also donating money.
Were you looking at the flip side, Wild Rose? Was folks like Danielle Smith giving money to her party?
Yes, she has.
Well, there you go.
That's and Rod Sherman has given a lot of money to the Alberta Liberals as well.
Well, okay, I thought you're right. That is a fascinating story. That ought to be a headline story somewhere in tomorrow's papers. Let me ask you about leadership candidates not running, and this is usually the way it plays out in any leadership race. We hear about the people who say no before we hear about the people who say yes. Not running, Michelle Rempel, the Calgary North Centre MP, Calgary Centre North, pardon me, MP. Scott Tanis, the senator, some had talked about him. Among these names, anybody surprise you about people not running? This used to be the leader of the PC Party was the biggest prize in Alberta politics and one of the biggest prizes across Canada. Now it's a bit of a tarnished crown due to the scandals that surrounded Redford, the dismal poll numbers, and now the financial difficulties where they're about $1 million in debt. So I think the fact that we're seeing so many people saying no is a reflection of the prize not being quite what it once was. The other thing is, it's only been 2 weeks since Redford resigned, and that only occurred after a month of really bad news day after day. So it's not like people had an opportunity to set up volunteers to start raising money on their own. So it was pretty sudden. So I wouldn't expect people to start throwing their $50,000 deposit down until a bit later. Dwayne Bratt joining us tonight from Calgary. Thank you so much as always, Dwayne. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, David.